Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my 10th Python 3 tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys, I'm going to be talking about the if statement in Python. And the if statement it's one of the 3 control flow statements in Python. And along with the other 2, you're going to be using the if statement quite a bit when you're coding, because it gives you a whole bunch of control over your code. Specifically, it's actually a conditional statement. It's the simplest conditional statement in Python. And what a conditional statement does is it gives you the ability to check conditions and change the behavior of your program accordingly. So basically what that means is it looks at something that you give it, it decides if it's true or false, and then runs a certain block of code depending on that. So let me just show you the if statement real quick. So all it is you just start out with if, and then you put what is called the Boolean expression next, and it's going to check if this is true or false. And it's called a Boolean because true and false are the 2 Booleans. So this is called a Boolean expression. I'm just going to say 2 equal to 2, which we know it is. So this is the Boolean expression, and once I run this, it'll check to see if it's true or not. In this case it is, and if it's true, it'll run what I put down here, which is the body of the if statement, and I'm just going to print yes. And if this was false, for example, if this was 3, so if it was checking to see if 3 was equal to 2, this would it would skip this bit of code and not run it. So let me just hit enter, and you can see it checked to see if the value 2 was equal to the value 2, and it printed yes, because this was true. And I just want to show you something there. This right here, this double equal sign, that's checking to see if 2 values are the same. It's not the same as the assignment operator, like if I did x equals 4. That's assigning this value to a variable. But you can also use, obviously, you can also use variables in the if statement, something like this. If x is equal to 2, let's say, print yes. In this case, it's not, so when I run it, it's not going to show up anything here. And so you can see this isn't actually assigning the value 2 to x, because if I print x, it's still 4. It's just checking to see if 2 is the same value as whatever value is contained in the variable x. And you could do the same thing, like if x was a string, you could see if it was the same as another string. So now I'm going to actually run a little program. And in this program, the user is going to input a guess, and if that guess is equal to a certain number, then it'll print something. So I'm going to have a variable called guess, and that is going to contain the value of whatever the user inputs. I'm just going to type a little prompt here. And since I'm dealing with numbers, I'm going to want this to be an integer, so I'm going to use that integer function I told you guys about in the last tutorial. Alright, so that's there's the guess variable. Now I want to check and see if guess is equal to a number, and I'm just going to have this number be 9. So if guess is equal to 9, I'm going to print you win. Now I'm going to show you a little added on thing that can be used in correlation with the if statement, and that's called the else statement. And what the else statement is, it says just else. That's all it is. You don't have a Boolean expression, because basically it's just like, if this isn't true, just do whatever I tell you to do in the else statement. There is no condition for the else statement. So it will always run. If you have an if else, it will run one of the 2. And in this case, I'm just going to print you lose. Yeah. So this is what my program is going to do. The user is going to input a number. That's going to be saved in the variable guess. Python's going to check if the value in guess is equal to the value 9. If that's true, it will print you win. If it's false, it'll come down here and print you lose. So let me save that. I'm just going to save it as guess.py. Remember to put that .py extension on there, and then I'm going to run it. Alright, so let me guess. I'm just going to, right now, I'm just going to guess 9. And you can see, you win. And if I come back to this and I'm going to rerun it, if I guess, say, 8, I lose. That's because 8 is not the same as 9. And so what's comparing the two, it doesn't work out that way. Now there's another thing you can also use. If you want to add another Boolean expression to check for something else, you can use the elif function. Whoops, that's the elif function, or statement, sorry. And now for elif statements, like if, require a Boolean expression. So I can say guess is greater than 9. And this is the greater than sign, obviously. And this is one of the 6 comparison operators. This equals is another one. And then there's also greater than or equal to, which is just that, less than or equal to, and less than. And also not equal to, and that's exclamation point then an equal sign. So I'm just going to check if it's greater than 9. And if it's greater than 9, I'm going to print too high. And now, since I have a greater than 9, so first it's going to check if it's equal to 9, it'll print this. If it's not, it'll check if it's greater than 9. If it's not, it must be lower than 9. So I'm just going to print too low. So let's save that and then run it. I am going to guess 10 because I know it's higher. And so you can see it ran the elif statement. The code contained the elif statement. That's because it always checks if your if statement first, if your if statement is true or not. Because even if like your elif statement, let's say this was if guess is greater than or equal to 9, and the elif statement was if guess is less than 10, for instance. Even if this was 9, it is less than 10, but since the if statement is always checked first, it'll do whatever's contained in your if statement. Then it'll go on to your elif statement, and finally your else statement. But actually in this code, it'll never go to your else statement, because it's either going to be greater than 9 or less than 10. And one last thing you can do, let's say you're going to write your code later, and you don't really know, like, you're going to write your code for your if statement later. You don't really know exactly what you want to write at the time, or maybe you do and you just want to write it later. You can use this pass statement kind of as a placeholder, which basically says don't do anything. So like if this is true, it's going to come down here, look and say, it'll look at the pass statement and it'll be like, okay, I'm just going to move on. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. So I showed you guys how, about the if statement, how to use it. Python checks to see if this is true or not. If it is, it'll run the code. If it's not, it'll move on, it'll skip it. You can also have elif statements, which provide a second Boolean expression. You can actually have as many elif statements as you want, so you can check for a whole bunch of different things. And there's also the else statement, which it's basically if none of the previous things were true, then run whatever's in this code. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.